Oh, let me. We're we're streaming, but I still have to log into YouTube and tweet out the URL.
Sure. So don't get cursing yet.
What do you mean yet? Wait till post show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely went not safe for work dads on Twitter.
Yeah.
I was listening to that one in my office
Yeah.
when people were walking by.
Oh, that's not a
Thank
good.
goodness that you press the power button, it goes off really quick. Good job.
I was listening to it on my drive to the grocery store, and I had my windows down because it's hot here. And I was kind of like, you're rolling in the grocery store and kind of the parking lot, so you slow down, the windows are down, and that's when they're talking about Elliot running around naked. And I was just like, I'm howling and laughing in my car, and these people are looking at me. I was like, I should not be listening to this right now. I need to, not be doing this. So.
Life choices, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how you doing over there, Jesse?
Almost done.
Hey, buddy. Cadence of Hyrule is definitely gonna be a shadow drop, by the way. This week.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
It's like they have mailed that one pretty.
I
smooth.
really hope that they have one in the can that we haven't thought about yet, just so that because they've messed that one up so bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty obvious one. I bet you there's a third party one that we're just not.
I'm super excited about that game though.
Yeah, so am I. Actually, more and more I've looked at it, and I didn't play the original one, so I'm gonna be excited.
And I feel like I have trouble with Crypt of the Necrodancer. I don't know if you've ever played it.
Nope.
It's okay. It's I get it, but I don't love it.
Right.
So I think this is Nintendo's shine on this is going to be it has to be more accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be better.
I agree.
They've learned a lot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 223, recorded today, June 6, 2019. We are on the eve of E3 2019. And of course, with me, I have got two of the most fantastic co-hosts, co-pilots around this virtual roundtable. Of course, I'm talking with Jesse Waldyke and Marty Estes. But of course, before we start into all the news, we have to play that sweet, sweet music. So, Jesse, hit the button, would you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marty here with Nintendo Dads, and it's episode 233 on the eve of E3. And if you can't tell, we are super excited about all the news that's probably already been spoiled for us, but we're just in denial and we're not accepting it, right? Joining me on the show tonight, straight all the way from Ireland, and it's where it is currently 4:30 in the freaking morning. Give him a hand, guys, for actually being able to wake up this early. It's Justin Masson.
What is going on? I it's tough to say if we're on the eve of E3 or if we're already in the thick of it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
There's been a lot of what would you call these, appetizers?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I was, thinking about it today. I was like, when does E3 actually? I know, like, they have their own official kickoff date, but I mean, we're on the heels of Stadia went through today, right? The announcement. Obviously, we had the Pokémon Direct. We've had third parties and other conferences get out in front and have their own, drops of trailers, kind of trying to kind of, I guess, stay away from the wake that is E3, right? They're trying to own their own messaging. But I mean, I would almost argue now that E3 and all that news is almost a 2-week cycle that has to
Yeah,
occur.
I mean, you've got some folks who were spinning up before that.
Yeah.
Like you said, not to take away from what that has been announced, because of course
No.
Pokemon and others are huge announcements. But again, staying away from the big blockbuster announcements like Nintendo's week of mic drops next week that we're hoping for. Speaking of week of mic drops, guy who's dropping mics all the time or adjusting them, it's Jesse Waldyke.
I mean, like this, moving.
I was actually just meaning like volume. with
Oh,
mics.
yeah. And when I don't know if you're hearing it too, but when I turned on the music, seemed louder than normal. So I don't know if it's in the stream too or just in my headset.
Yeah, so we got some feedback on the show last week, Jesse, that on the YouTubes, nobody could hear you. And we just want to throw this out here that when Windows updates like it do, and it resets all your settings, every 6 months, Mr. Waldeck cannot be held to blame for that. All he does is push the button and turn on the machine. It's Microsoft that you should be heading toward with torches and pitchforks for ruining the audio quality of an otherwise solid show.
Otherwise solid.
So I made some I think it sounded like the audio version was fine. So it was just in the YouTube version. So I'm hoping things sound better today. And I've kind of readjusted things over again. We'll see how it works. And as a quick correction for Justin, this is episode 233, not 223.
What does it really matter? When you're a legacy podcast like we are, when you're in the 200s, does it really matter anymore?
Yeah,
we did this for
it's
almost
like
5
There's another
years.
podcast I listen to that are
right?
in this. I'm sorry, what was that?
It's like when you stop counting your birthdays, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm forever
on.
I'm forever 29.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be in the nursing home with parts falling off.
Another
and I'll be
podcast
like,
I
I'm
listen
29.
Another podcast I listen to that it's in the 600s. It's more often than not that they get the number wrong.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And look, when you're a 600 episode old podcast, I guess you're afforded a few mistakes.
Sure.
And speaking of mistakes or non-mistakes, let's get right into the news tonight because
we should. Yep.
Justin, tell them who our news is brought to us by.
Our news is, of course, brought to us by our amazing folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, who, for just as little as $1 a month, help keep our lights on, help keep this content ad-free, and helps us pay all the bills associated with Jesse's sweet, sweet beard. Of course, I think we have some new Patreon folks as well, Monty. Who do we need to
Two brand new patrons
praise
this week that we do want to shout out to.
And shout out.
James Adams and RJ Kern. We want to thank you guys for hopping aboard the Patreon train. We appreciate you guys, as well as all of our, in a lot of cases, incredibly long-standing patrons who have been patrons with us now for some of them years, some of them multiple months, and we are very, very thankful for that. It would be remiss, I think, right here if we didn't announce or talk about a little bit about the monthly mayhem that's going on through the Discord server that we have. Monthly Mayhem is our brand new, play along series that we have that's being done over there on Discord by Drew DeFusco and John Blanco. Last month was Cuphead. This month is Downwell. And if you've not played Downwell, it's in the eShop right now, $3. You can get this and get in on the competition. And what I love about this is that, let's just be frank, you don't have to be good at the game, right? You can be good at the game and win $15 in eShop credit each month, or you can not be good at the game and do different tasks that are assigned to you through Monthly Mayhem and get your name in for the raffle, which wins $10 in the eShop cash a month. And so we want to say, again, congratulations to last month's winner, Third Strongest Mole, who took home Cuphead Gold. Y'all, if playing Cuphead is a superpower, Mole has it. I mean, expert level, every achievement, S rank, ridiculous.
I saw the scorecards and went, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he won the $50.
And you even get a point for just loading the game up and taking a picture.
That's right.
While I'm not eligible to win, I have my point. And that's probably all I'm going to get.
That's right.
Because
also winning the $10 last month was, ironically, John Blanco. We may need to check those rules, Justin. But also, we draw each month for $25 just to one of you lucky patrons. And so all you have to do is be a dollar patron or higher, and you can win $25 in eShop credit from us for this, just for being awesome. And Justin, great time here to mention we're going to be doing a couple of giveaways right during E3 week for our patrons.
We are. We have the Nintendo Dads game vouchers that we're going to be
confused with Nintendo vouchers.
No, exactly. It's like the Nintendo ones, just with the dad in front of it. But essentially, what it is a voucher for a game that you want. So if you're a Patreon supporter, and again, for as little as $1 a month, you can be. You get to be added in this draw. And what it is we basically will say whatever game you want, we will purchase it for you. So maybe it's Pokemon, one of the Pokemon games. Well, it's not out right now, Justin. Well, here you go. Here's a voucher, and when it comes out, let us know, and we will redeem that for you, and we will send you the code. We had some conversations actually with our folks over at Patreon, and we thought, hey, we could just get you, Super Mario Maker, which obviously people want, but some people say, hey, I've already pre-ordered it, or I'm not interested in it. So why don't we use this voucher program? So we're going to do a vouchers, which I think is a great opportunity for the community to choose exactly what they want and play on that as well. So we're going to be giving a couple of those away during E3, and again, that is big thanks to our folks over at Patreon.com.
And so how will people find out information about this?
I will say stay tuned to our Twitter feed, and if you are on Patreon, check out the announcements in the posts on Patreon. That is how you're going to find out about that information.
Awesome. So, guys, keep it locked here during E3 week, and you could win a free game.
Absolutely.
Or two. Well, no, you can't win two, because once you win once, I just need to move on. Yeah, it's time. Let's talk about news, right? All right. So this week was Pokemon Direct, and I know if you are a fan, you probably feel a lot like Justin Masson did this week. It's like, shut up with the Pokemon and let's get on to other stuff. Well, we can't, because last week it was the big news. This week it's the big news. This week was a 15-minute Pokemon Direct that dropped on Tuesday morning, or Tuesday-ish worldwide, showing off lots of new information about Pokemon Sword and Shield, including brand new Pokemon, the Dynamax system, stuff in the region, as well as release date, and also legendaries, which I thought was pretty cool. And so let's talk and just kind of dive into this. Justin, you did a fantastic video follow up. It's definitely stirred the hornet's nest a little bit. Would it be fair to say, just for all of our listeners, maybe that are not familiar with Wobble Puffet and when Sun and Moon came out and all those things?
Wobble Buffet.
There it is. Would it be fair to say that you are not a Pokemon fan?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. Yeah, I'm definitely. I missed the whole Pokemon craze back in the 90s. I kind of passed that, so it's never been like it's. I know of it. It's I've played some of the games, but I'm not a rabid fan. Like, I'm not like. I don't know their names. I think they're all names that are made up of from Scrabble pieces. Like, it's just a bit ridiculous.
It's getting. I feel like
it is, right. I enjoyed playing Let's Go with my daughter, and yeah.
Did you finish Let's Go?
No, we haven't. It's where we're going at her pace, right? So she
have
wants
you
to play
ever
it,
finished a Pokemon game?
No,
me either.
No.
Jesse, how many Pokemon games have you finished?
Define finish, because you're talking about just becoming champion, or actually
you beat the Elite Four or the Elite Six or the Elites.
All right, so you get okay. So
I know there's post game content.
Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 4, Gen 7, then Let's Go.
You're missing some gens in there.
Yeah, I skipped 3 because I never owned a GBA until after DS came out. I skipped Gen 5 because I played the hell out of 4, and it was just burned out. I bought X and Y, but the pacing was lopsided, so I didn't get past the second gen. And then I played 7.
Gotcha. So, again, for those of you who are at home keeping score, this is Gen 8. This is Gen 8. because a new generation starts every time there are new starters. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I know for some that is very rudimentary information, but for a lot of people that
Uh,
five,
yeah.
Jen Lawrence,
Marty's glitching out
you know,
sometimes, so
then
he probably doesn't even know it.
we,
But
I mean, then they don't know what we're talking about. So I just wanted to clarify that.
yeah,
So let's break
it
down this
yeah, it used to be
direct.
one generation per hardware cycle, and starting with the DS, they started going 2 generations per system.
Yeah, well, because it started making a butt ton of money
Right.
as well. Uh, so let's break down this whole direct and get right into some of the news, bigger news items. The first thing that happened in the direct was we were greeted by the CEO or president of the Pokemon Company, who basically said that we would be seeing lots of new info, and they were happy to show it, and they were broadcasting this direct from inside their offices at Game Freak and blah 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 blah. From there, we moved on to showing off one, two, three, four new Pokemon, as well as the evolution of one of those Pokemon, which did either of you guys find that it was very strange that we got an evolution for just one of the random Pokemon, before we got any evolution information for the starters?
A little bit. So one of my predictions was that we would not see starter evolutions until during Treehouse time. So
Yeah.
that still is possibly to be true.
With this game being so far away, I feel like there's still things that they're trying to save back, right?
Yeah, they don't
Uh,
want to
when Sun and Moon,
shoot their load. Too
again,
soon.
I didn't play Pokemon on the Game Boy. I didn't really pick it up until like the re-releases, I guess, Leaf Green and all that.
Yeah.
What when did like when Sun and Moon came out, and I was really involved in like all the news with that. How long before release date did we see starter evolutions?
I think around E3 ish, maybe if not a little before. 'Cause
So
that was
the
announced, I think, in January of that year.
right. So
So
the
we had
pattern
less.
holds.
Yeah,
Right. So, I mean, I wouldn't say don't get your hopes up too much, but I definitely think that we will see Pokemon during the Treehouse, because they're gonna try to fill up 3 days.
Well, and I mean, I would say it's a little bit bearing the lead, but Nintendo came out today and said that the Pokemon will be playable at the show floor.
Oh, so yeah, so
So
we'll know a
we're
lot
gonna
more.
see a lot more there for
Yep.
sure.
So one of the first things, let's just run over these Pokemon that were revealed. There was a sheep Pokemon named Wooloo that was shown off. Uh,
No,
so
sorry,
it's not the song by Blur. It's Wooloo,
Okay.
not Woohoo. Uh,
Beep,
it
beep,
appears to be
I'm
a
a sheep. Beep, beep,
pretty,
I'm a sheep.
rudimentary Pokemon, easy to find. Then shown off was the flowering Pokemon Gossifleur, which evolves into Eldegoss.
These aren't even real words.
Yeah, I know. Which is the Cotton Bloom Pokemon. Both of those are grass type. The one that stuck out to me, these last two were the ones that I really, really liked the most. Dreadnought, which is this very angular tortoise-looking Pokemon, is a water rock type, but he's called you can't make this up, the Bite Pokemon.
Bite.
He's a
Pokemon.
bite type. Yeah,
that was even listed in a slower third, so
bite
it's from the
Pokemon.
source.
And then I really love the design of this one, Corviknight, who is a Raven Pokemon, flying steel type. And Corviknight can be used in the game not just as one of your fighting Pokemon, but it can be used for fast travel between cities that you have already discovered. And it seems to me that that was in there for a reason, and the emphasis was kind of put on that to say, hey, this is going to be it's going to be kind of a big area in this game.
Yeah, and I think
You're going to need to fast travel.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and
I think,
kind of
I
a
think
side way of saying that no HMs again, which is good.
Yeah. And they definitely highlighted that with the wild areas, right? They kind of said between
Yeah.
the cities, there's the wild areas, right? So, and I think that the wild areas definitely will give you the opportunity, and just again, knowing my deep, deep Pokemon lore,
We know
will
how
give you the
that goes.
right. There's a Pikachu. I choose you. Although in all fairness, just side note, I did go see Detective Pikachu over the weekend with the kids. It was hilarious and I enjoyed it. So I suspect that instead of, so you can walk through the wild area, and that's where random encounters appear to be off. I shouldn't say random encounters appear to be off. You appear to be able to see the Pokemon as
Yes.
opposed to just having the random encounters. So I think that's a good opportunity to potentially farm what you need to, but the bird that flies will be a fast travel between cities so that you don't
Yeah.
have to do it if you don't want to. The other thing I do want to say before we get into this, and I know people are like, oh, you had a reaction video and it was kind of, underhyped. Here's one thing I do want to say that I definitely got a lot of feelings about was they leaned heavily into Breath of the Wild, like trying to stir those memories for you.
Yeah,
There were some shots that were
one of the
very
audio tracks had the piano.
Yeah. Yeah, there was an audio track to it. There were some actual shots like of like almost Breath of the Wild esque shots that you probably could have seen. Like, wait a second, that looks like. So they definitely took either an artistic style or a licensing or tried to be inspired by it. So I thought that was a very interesting statement. And then I think with the change of the camera being a bit more of a free flowing camera, I think that also indicates that they're making some changes. So I know this isn't the huge move forward that I think Pokemon fans, especially diehard fans like myself, have wanted. But I do think that this is definitely a movement forward for the Pokemon Company.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention something. I just want to ask if you guys noticed this in that wild area, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's really the next big thing that was revealed during that trailer. One of the criticisms back in February when Sword and Shield was revealed, was that we had Let's Go, and it had felt very much like an alive world, with Pokemon moving around in the field, and that they were following you, and they could see you. You could see people interacting with their Pokemon. Whereas, like in the DS games and 3DS games, it was just like you running around the town, and then you'd run through some grass and throw a ball, and then you'd go to a new town and run through some grass and throw a ball, and that's why I never finished them. But this wild area, I think, was really like I think you can tell this was really where they've been spending their development time, right? There's again the Pokemon that spawn, and you can see them on the map based on location and weather. Different Pokemon can spawn in the same area, and as Justin already mentioned, there's a free movement camera system here that allows you to look around the world, and I feel like that's so much more immersive than what we're getting. But keep in mind too that the distinction is very much being drawn between the fact that you're in the wild area and you can move the camera around and you can go anywhere you want to, but when you get to that town, you're going to be perspective fixed. You get to that location, it's going back to that. This is the way we want you to see it, and not you're going to see it any way you want to.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I wouldn't be too shocked about, and I wonder where. So there's two thoughts of mine. Is I wonder what lessons or what mechanics have been brought over, or if any have been brought over from Let's Go into this game. Right, because I think that especially when I was playing here with my daughter playing Let's Go, it was really accessible. Right, it was really easy to use. You could see the Pokemon. Right, we were able to avoid them. So obviously that's not there. But like, how are we making that accessible? I think the other thing is that we've heard from mature gamers who grew up with Pokemon that they want this kind of Breath of the Wild experience. Right, we've this kind of free flowing, a little bit more gritty, more. But at the same time, they also have to stay formulaic to what works. Right, like they can't. Pokemon is such a big enterprise and such a big franchise that they can't kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. So how do you slowly integrate or make some of those changes? Well, I think you have a situation where when you're in the towns, it's just like every other Pokemon game that you've played before, right? You know what to expect. But when you're in the wild area, and I'm going to steal someone here in the chat here said Breath of the Wild area, but when you're in the wild area, we're going to try a new approach. Do you know what I mean? So that it's not changing the entire structure of the game in one movement, but rather making small iterations to eventually move them to a spot where potentially like 2 generations from now, it's all using the Breath of the Wild-esque kind of free-flowing ways. So I thought it was very interesting to kind of see how that goes. But that was kind of just my observations.
Yeah, so again, one of the things I noticed, and I kind of started talking about something else and went away from this, was did anybody of you guys notice in the trailer or in the direct that they showed a couple of times something that looked like a camera frame or like a lens moving over things where you could take pictures?
Yeah, I think I saw that a few times.
I just kind of wonder if part of the wild area is, there's been a lot of people asking for a new Pokemon Snap.
Mm.
And I wonder if it's, like taking a cue from Breath of the Wild, you're able to actually go out and snap some photos while you're out there as well. Because I just thought, like, if it showed up one time, you can chalk it up to a cutscene, right? But it actually showed up more than once in the trailer. And
Mm.
so I maybe again it's one of those mechanics, and they show it and they let people speculate about it, and we're going to talk about it later.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So
Did they?
I personally, I think would be a smart choice because you've got people who are asking for that, and now you can put that functionality into your new game. You don't necessarily have to develop a Pokemon Snap too. This is like, you
Yeah.
go out in the wild area and take some pictures, kid.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think like, and for those of you that watched my video, my reaction video, right? It was a bit of also a counter to internet culture a little bit as well around these type of things, right? But I do think it's interesting. I find the setting compelling, right? The UK or Europe or whatever you want to call it. I mean, obviously, having lived here now for a couple of years, there's definitely like this. Oh, yeah, that feels very European or UK-esque. So I enjoy that. But I am interested in the game, and I think the kids are going to love it, right? Like my kids are going to love this stuff. It's great. It looks like there's more customization in some ways, and the Pokemon look great. Looks like it's an open world that they can explore and have fun. So I mean, I think it's like, here's the thing. It's exactly what you expect it to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you go into like a fast food restaurant and you order something. You're like, I know exactly what it's going to be. I know what it's going to taste like. Like there's no surprise here. And I think that's a little bit of I think maybe the disappointment, right? Like you're getting the reveal, and like we all know we're going to these things. We're going to find out what the starters are and all this, but there's like it's formulaic. It's burger, it's bun, it's cheese, and that's what you're going to get. And it's good, it's successful, everyone enjoys it. But I think something like Pokemon Let's Go took a risk, and I think that's why it was successful. I think that's why it was different. I guess it was kind of like baby's first Pokemon or whatever it was, but I think it was worth taking the different approach, right? Like, fast forward the clock from 2 years from now, we're gonna have the same conversation again, but it's going to be about some different region that is a knockoff of a country with three starters. We know they're going to be the exact same starters types. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all the same thing. It's almost cut and paste numbers, but it does incredibly well. And I will buy the game, and all of us will buy the game, and we're going to talk about it for weeks.
Sure.
But I mean, again, if it's paint by numbers in a lot of ways.
Just like similar series like Dragon Quest, where one of its biggest complaints are every game is like the other, but on the other hand, of the fans, the biggest compliment they give is every game is like the other.
Right.
Something Final Fantasy can't say because they always try to change things up. Sometimes for the good, best, usually not so much.
It's the very same people who are complaining about like Pokemon's all the same. Pokemon, it's the same thing. There's a team. They're trying to take over the world. Blah 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 blah. Are the same people that when they do Let's Go are like that style. Are like, you can't touch my turn-based battles.
Yeah.
I don't. You better not take those away. And I'm not trying to vilify those people. It's just like there's got to be a place at some point for progress to happen. And so I love the way that you've put it.
I don't think it's the same people making those arguments. It's just two both vocally
it's the same
opposing poles of the same argument.
It's the same community.
Yeah,
it's the same community. But I really like the way you framed it, Justin, in that there is a familiarity here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's illustrate it this way. Like, what a hamburger tastes like.
Yep.
And so you can go to Burger King or McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever and get a hamburger. But then there's this restaurant over here that makes a hamburger, but they're trying something new with it.
Right.
It's still a hamburger, but it's like a great example would be, I remember a few years ago when like Hardee's started putting hamburgers on lettuce and trying to be healthy. And it's
Mm.
like, we don't have a bun, we have lettuce. It's still a hamburger, but we're charting new territory. So Sword and Shield is giving them the opportunity to put out something that is very familiar.
Yeah.
You're getting the hamburger,
Yeah.
but you're also getting something different over here with the wild area.
Yeah.
So I can really appreciate that. Like I can appreciate the forward thinking of that in that, because that's what everybody was saying they wanted. They wanted Breath of the Wild with Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is your first step of that.
Yeah, and I think they're delivering that. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking of it. Pokemon, and I'm going to get vilified for saying this.
Come on, I love
So
this.
don't at me.
Oh no, add it.
Pokemon is the Assassin's Creed of Nintendo.
Oh, that is entirely fair.
Yeah,
Right. It is.
Yeah,
It is annualized. It is paint by numbers. They will change one or two little things, and they will sell a epic ton of these things, and they're going to be grand. But you're never going to be completely shocked, torn down, because again, that's how they're having success. It's again, if I follow the right numbers and I change one little thing, it tastes a lot like a burger, but oh my gosh, there's cheese. This is mine. What's going on?
This one has a sauce. This one has
Yeah.
a potato on top.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And again, so yeah,
I know, I get it.
feel free
that's
to
totally
at me.
fair.
But here's the thing though, it will sell, and it's critically important for Nintendo's brand, and it's a great introduction, and I'm going to buy it. I'm going to play with my kids, and they're going to choose one, and it's going to be fun, right? But I just like, I don't know.
I know that we won't see like actual numbers, but I know that Nintendo might make a comment, about digital sales or anything. But I would be very interested. I am very interested in seeing what the pre-order sales of this already are doing.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to be one of the top ones already, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, the fact that it's on handheld or first, I think they're calling it the first home console one, right?
Sure.
yeah.
And they can get away with it, right?
They've had Pokemon games on GameCube and before, but that was a little more sides. Yeah, this is the first main line.
Yeah. So let's run down a few more of these news items really quick for those who may have not been able to watch the direct or just want to talk
or
about.
Want to watch me eat Doritos? Sponsored by Doritos. # not sponsored by Doritos. Head over to our YouTube channel and watch my underreaction.
I am so surprised how well that video's doing.
Yeah. Well, it says Pokemon and it says underreaction, so people want to see that because it's like watching a car crash. Yeah. The biggest feature I think, other than the wild area that was revealed in this, is the Dynamax mode. This appears to be the Mega Evolution or Z Crystal type thing for this game. This is something they're including in all mainline Pokemon now. Dynamax turns a Pokemon giant for 3 turns. Already the internet is speculating what happens if you use Dynamax on Wailord or Snorlax.
I think Wailord is the largest
that I'm not
one.
getting, I'm sure.
Yeah. What it basically does is it powers up learned moves for 3 turns. It also allows them to be, I guess, more defensive. It can be used once per battle, and they did confirm that gym leaders will use Dynamax Pokemon as well, like in your battle against Milo, the grass type leader. That the Galar gyms, they're not, which I think is again a nod to the European heritage of this game, with having a stadium that's almost like a soccer stadium, right? They're large enough to allow for Dynamax Pokemon to battle there. But Dynamax Pokemon also figure into something called Max Raid Battles, which are 4-player areas in the wild area that allow for raids. Thank you, Pokemon Go, for adding this to the game, where you'll be able to link up locally with friends or also online. And knowing Nintendo, it will probably be link up online with just a bunch of random people to go fight this Pokemon.
Now, they did say, I will say to that, again, they did mention that you can do it local, right? So if you have 4 players around locally, that's great. They do mention the online component of it coordinating, but, to your point, that's questionable.
Yeah, and one thing I did think that was interesting that they mentioned during this is that during the max raid battle, you can use the Dynamax move, but only one player's Pokemon can become a Dynamax Pokemon for the entire battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
So what?
the
You know,
Pokemon
go
that
ahead.
you're fighting is Dynamax the entire time.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well,
how are you going to
that's
coordinate that?
voice chat with the app, of course.
Yeah,
Hmm.
hand signals, smoke signals. I don't know. Um, a couple of characters, supporting characters, were revealed for the game. Leon, who is the champion of the Galar region, who I guess is
Can we just say he legitimately looks like he fell out of Macklemore's wardrobe?
yes,
Do
he
you know what I
wears
mean?
his granddad's clothes.
He went to the thrift shop, and that is what he's
He
sporting.
is incredible. His younger brother, Leon, has a younger brother named Hop.
Of
Yep,
course.
that's
What
really
is
his
with these
name.
rivals' names? They're awful.
Well, at least it's not blue or red.
Well, that big. We were talking about 8-bit era Game Boy here, so like that
Well,
was even in Japanese they're limited in
they still
space.
named someone Professor Oak. They still could have gave him a name. Just saying.
Yeah, but I
Other
forget what the kid in Sun and Moon was, but that was awful too.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was like
also
Hugh. I don't know. Professor Magnolia is the professor for this region. She researches Dynamax along with her granddaughter, who has already inspired legions of fan art,
yeah,
Sonia.
that's the waifu of the generation.
Yep. Also, at the very end of the trailer, legendary Pokemon were revealed pertaining to the versions Sword and Shield, Zacian and Zamazenta. Zacian is a wolf with a sword in its mouth, and Zamazenta is a wolf who has poked his head through a shield and is now stuck.
This exactly. This is your animal who's now doesn't know what to do with their head. Um, could those names get any more ridiculous?
Justin, I'm gonna tell you back up right here because those are good boys. They are very good boys, and you need to be careful.
What?
Those doggos, they are legendary, majestic Pokemon doggos, and they are very good boys. Even if,
It's
even if
it's
they have gotten their head stuck in the screen door
it's
shield and they can't get it out.
Scrabble. It's Scrabble. It's ridiculous.
Zamazenta. I am Team Zamazenta. I'm getting Shield.
Um,
That's the one I want. Of course, my son sees that and he's immediately like, "It's a dog with a sword in its mouth." Because
Yeah.
it's 12 years old. He's freaking out over that a dog can cut somebody with a sword in
Yeah.
its mouth, and so he's like, "I'm Team Sword. I'm not getting anything but sword." So it worked. It did its job. But I do want to mention this. Jesse, resident Pokemon master here. This can't be all the legendaries, right?
Isn't
No,
there only
there's-
ever two?
There's
There's
usually
generally three, and a mythical.
okay.
So
I don't even know what's going on anymore. I'm gonna take a nap.
So there's more. There's
So-
more to share. It's like Gen 1 had Zapdos, Articuno,
Right.
and with Mew, and Mewtwo is legendary, and then Mew is mythical. So yeah,
And I mean, even recently, like Necrozma, Solgaleo,
It's not
Lunala.
even real words.
I know they're not words. I just made up one of those just now. and
I
people
wouldn't know.
believe
I
it.
wouldn't
That's-
know any different. I'd have no clue. I would believe that they are all real.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
There it is. Uh, the reason I mention this is because I guess on the episode where we talked about Pokemon Sword and Shield when it was first revealed, I believe that the episode's title was Pokemon Trebuchet. We talked about how there was a 4chan post that pretty much blew all of this right before the direct came out. It was very, very close, and it mentioned armored Pokemon, which we know that the trademark for armored Mewtwo has been filed in Japan. But one of the other things it talked about was a wooden horse Pokemon that was kind of like a Trojan horse.
Right.
And another, I can't remember what it was. There was another type. So I would think that those are probably in there, and they just haven't revealed those yet. I don't know. Like you said, Justin, I'm going to buy this. I've already pre-ordered it. In fact, I pre-ordered let me rewind here for just a minute. The game is available for pre-order right now. It's also available for pre-purchase digitally. So if you have Nintendo vouchers, you can use your Nintendo voucher on
Oh,
that.
I
Actually,
looked
they're
yesterday and they
not right
weren't
now.
yet.
They're about to be.
Okay.
They will be E3 week, I'm sure. Because
Well,
Marvel Ultimate Alliance isn't either. I bought vouchers today and I was like, I'm gonna go get Ultimate Alliance. Can't do it yet.
well, the thing is, but when you do a pre-purchase, you start a download, so
Right.
they have to have a build ready to go at some
Right.
point.
Yeah.
So
So
it'll probably be, but I'd say at least my guess is probably 2, 3 at the most months before launch
August,
before they'll be
September.
pre-purchasable.
Yeah, August, September, probably. Uh, but anyway, you can use vouchers on that. But they're also available physical, and there's also a double pack, which contains both versions that is available right now. And as of airtime, I believe it was still available on Best Buy. It had been available on Amazon. That's where I got mine. And if you are in the European region, you get a really sweet steel book with this
Mhm.
if you buy the double pack. In America, you just get shame and regret.
America.
That's what we have. So,
Yeah, a lot of people were
uh,
hoping that the dual pack would be discounted to kind of
nope.
match what it would cost if you bought it with 2 vouchers, but nope, it's still you save 2 pennies.
Yep. 2 whole cents. The thing for me though with the double pack is my household wants one of each, so it makes sense for us to do it
Right.
that way. So we're not going to use Nintendo vouchers on Pokemon. It's going to be Marvel Ultimate Alliance and probably Luigi's Mansion 3. The
Yeah.
release date
Well,
of Pokemon Sword and Shield is November 15th, which, by the way, we nailed right on. We believed it would be November. I didn't know the actual date when I said that, but Pokemon, when it comes out, usually releases right before Black Friday so that people can run out and
yeah,
snap it up.
yeah,
And
the
so,
week before Black Friday.
yep, so great timing. And Sword and Shield will be, I predict, selling lots of Nintendo Switches this Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah,
going to
and
be a lot of Nintendo Switches. And I'm going to go ahead and say this too, that I don't think that we have seen all that they're planning yet. I fully believe there's going to be a bundle for this.
mhm.
I think that they
Oh, yeah.
have to. There's going to, and I don't think it's going to be just here's a Switch with regular Joy Cons and Pokemon. I think there's going to be some kind of dock design, something on the Switch itself, and maybe Pokemon colored Joy Cons.
For sure.
I would really love it to be the blue and the red that they used in the like black Joy Cons with blue and red colored buttons and sticks,
Mhm.
like that they used for the versions, and maybe have those dog head, the sword and the shield logo on them. I think those would look so slick. But I think that we'll see that, and the rumor is already stirring, of course, about the next direct. Which, I mean, when does it not now?
Right.
August 31st for the next Pokemon Direct,
Yeah, yeah.
which I guess, would kind of be like the go home direct before release.
And
Yeah.
and that's probably the one where they'll say this is now available for pre-purchase.
Right. And it's coming in a bundle as well.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Right. Justin, you can breathe a sigh of relief now. Let's move on from some Pokemon news and let's talk E3. E3 is next week, and let's just go ahead and announce this here. You're getting next week from us not one but two podcasts, right? So tell them about that.
Yeah, so we will be doing a live show. Well, we'll be doing a couple things actually. So on the actual day of the direct, we are, and Jesse, keep me honest here, we are doing a live reaction, correct?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Jesse and I are definitely going to be connected to do it live. Yeah, some of the other lads are out doing stuff, but we're going to be connecting, doing it live, so you can watch our reaction to it. Then that night, Tuesday night, we are going to have a podcast, and we are going to be joined by Luke Lore and Sean Capri live from E3, who they will have just came from the Nintendo booth, where they have an exclusive appointment. They are our Nintendo Dads representatives, and they'll have been playing games. They're going to have been playing Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon and whatever else are announced, so they can tell us directly from the show floor how that experience was. So that's gonna be great. So it's almost gonna be like the day, that first day wrap up of E3, and then you're gonna get our regular podcast that we do on Thursdays, which will kind of be a final wrap up of the week plus everything that's in Treehouse. So you're getting double shows from us next week. Not a huge shock there, and of course, watch for potential live coverage as well of. The events on Saturday, which are the not Pokemon, sorry, Smash, Splatoon, and Mario Maker information as well. I think we're going to be trying to do some coverage of that. We're not 100% sure how it's going to work, but keep us tuned to that. So lots of Nintendo Dads coverage.
I'll try to take the best notes that I can just watching things live, because a lot of those probably won't have a chance to rewatch it later, and then we'll go over what I jotted down during one of the shows.
Too long, didn't listen. Next week, double dads. Tuesday and Thursday with live direct reaction as well. So triple dads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's going to be awesome. Let's run over for you guys who are listening. Nintendo's E3 schedule one last time. Of course, the direct will be on June 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That is going to be 11 a.m. Eastern time.
11 Central.
11 Central. Sorry about that. 11 Central. Nintendo Treehouse Live will begin directly after the digital event. That will go all day or into the afternoon on the 11th. It will pick up again on the 12th at 9 Pacific. It will pick up again on June 13th at 9 Pacific. And for the first time on June 13th, that part of the Treehouse all day will be indie focused only, which is really interesting. I think that I took that to mean that there are lots of indie releases coming down the pike that we need to watch out for.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a little indie direct. And the other thing I would say for those of you that do not have not played along at home on this one before, Nintendo, despite them putting a lot in their directs, typically will announce other content during the Treehouse 3 days as well. So
like Samus Returns and Sushi Strikers.
Yeah, just randomly. Oh, and by the way, here's another game we're going to announce. And you're like, wait, why did you not talk about that before? So don't be shocked if you hear more.
Also, during that week, Nintendo Early Access will be at 80 Best Buy locations across the United States, which if you go and search for those on the Best Buy website, are pretty much guaranteed to not be anywhere near you, so you'll be good and disappointed. Just like me.
The one in the entire Kansas City region is the one that's closest to my house.
Great.
Which means it's going to be
play it.
A madhouse.
Yeah. So this is only for one game, which is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. They are really, really pushing this game, which why not? We're coming off Avengers Endgame. It's incredibly hot right now. It looks amazing. You'll be able to play this game at these 80 Best Buy locations on Wednesday, June 12th and Saturday, June 15th. And you can check out bestbuy.com for times for those and instructions on how to get to those events. Also, Nintendo New York is going to host events during that time. Viewing parties for the tournaments, Nintendo Direct and Treehouse Live. Hands-on demos for games featured at E3, which again, Justin, you said were Pokemon Sword and Shield, Luigi's Mansion, Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
And Zelda Link's Awakening. And they also have here on their press release, and more, ...
Yeah. I'm extremely jealous about the Link's Awakening.
Noticing that Animal Crossing is not yet announced. I saw someone's tweet saying, that's funny how they spelled Animal Crossing with and more.
Yeah, we'll talk about Animal Crossing here in a minute. Nintendo New York also is going to have the chance to receive exclusive premium items, and these events are free, open on a first come first served basis to the public. You can go to Nintendo New York or NintendoNYC.com to find out more. The Warp Pipe Pass has also opened up for E3 visitors. Basically what this is it's a valid E3 badge will allow you to move through the line more quickly. Sign up started at 5 p.m. today, and by today we mean the day we're recording this, which is Thursday, June the 6th, and will be available until the day before the date of the pass. You can get those at experience.nintendo.com. And last but not least, there's going to be an E3 eShop sale beginning on June 11th and going through June 18th. which will have select digital Nintendo Switch and 3DS games on sale. Although, let me just couch that in this big defining term of don't expect much because Nintendo doesn't do great on sales.
Yeah, they said the website to look for more information is e3.nintendo.com/sale, but going to that currently redirects back to the e3.nintendo.com, so the site isn't even up yet. The page isn't
Probably
even
will
up
be
yet.
up on June 11th,
Probably.
which means
Hopefully.
they're probably going to mention it during their direct.
Hope not.
Which, by the way, Justin mentioned Cadence of Hyrule earlier and how they've kind of blown that. I have a feeling it might tie into that.
Yeah, there's a shadow
You can
drop.
get it right now for a special introductory price of.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I would expect, you know, if you're a fan, have your Switch nearby, right? Because they are going to shadow drop some games you may want to jump in on quickly. So yeah.
Yep. And that's all for E3 information. Speaking of dropping some new games, the June 2019 Nintendo Switch Online NES games were revealed this week. These will be coming to us during E3 week. Am I right about that? Or
Yeah, I
maybe
think
my
it's the
dates?
13th.
Yeah, the
I think it's
12th.
Wednesday, right?
The 12th. These will be coming out during E3. Double Dragon 2, Volleyball, and out of nowhere, City Connection, which is a game you probably have never played before.
I think
But
I had.
I love this game.
I think I played it when I was a kid, and I don't remember liking it. In fact, I watched the video during their announcement trailer, and I'm like, that looks familiar, but not a game
It is
I'm
very
interested
different.
in.
It's very unique. You are playing the role of a girl who is driving her Honda hatchback across the world, and it's full of paint in the
Spilling
back,
paint
and
all
it's
over the
spilling
streets.
paint, and you're trying to paint all the highways. So you're going to drive down the roads, which are lines on the screen, and you're going to try to drive over every box so that you can paint those white, and it will allow you to move on to the next level.
While you're shooting school buses or something.
Yeah, so you'll have to dodge road hazards and school buses and all kinds of interesting things like that. I remember renting this game from my local video store and playing it when I was a kid, and so I'm really excited about it.
Oh, so yeah, I'm not interested in these games. Yeah, I think I think we played Double Dragon as part of the Retro Rewind once, and then I really have no interest in playing that again. So I'm not even sure I'm going to do a video this month. Like I've done one every month
Fun
since the whole thing
fact:
started.
Double Dragon is the game that taught me the word simultaneous
Ooh,
because I remember it was advertised back in Nintendo Power back in the day. It was like two players simultaneous play, and I was like, "That's a really big word. What does that mean?" So I had to go learn it.
well, because the first game didn't do that, and a lot of people were upset because that was the whole point of the arcade.
Right. Right. Also, Justin, why don't you go over these new release rumors and or new release dates and announcements because a couple of these are pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. So our friends over at Devolver Digital have a release date now for my friend Pedro, which is actually available on June 20th. It's available on the eShop right now. You can check it out. And as I recall, if you do a pre-order right now or ordering for it, it's a 15% discount, I believe. Presuming you have other Devolver Digital games. And by the way, you probably do because Devolver Digital does a lot of games. So make sure you check that out. Also, THQ has been making some announcements over the last several days over their Twitter account. And they have announced, for those of you that are love a Pineapple Under the Sea, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is coming back as a refresher remake, and that was a Nintendo GameCube game, and that's going to be, I don't know if we have an actual date on that. I think it's November. And then they also announced Darksiders Genesis, which is coming to the Nintendo Switch also, and they're going to be making another announcement today. They said 3 games over 3 days for another game that THQ Nordic will be putting out. THQ Nordic over the last several years has been buying up IPs and game studios for the last little bit, and have kind of built quite a suite of games that they now have own the rights to. So we're going to start seeing THQ Nordic again kind of really leverage that content. So those are a couple of games that are going to be coming out in the near future as well. So if those are interesting to you, keep tuned in for them as well.
Yeah, yeah. So tons of stuff, and then that's we're not even into E3 announcement time.
And there's probably some
So
other games that have been announced that I've just completely missed, but those are the ones that
yeah,
stood out this last week.
yeah. By the way, the rumor is that Nintendo's presentation on June 11th is going to be 45 minutes long.
Wow.
And that's from sources that are pretty reliable that have nailed direct times in the past. So if that's the case, we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. Or they're just going to give us 25 minutes of a talking dragon flying through the sky and call it Fire Emblem.
There you go. Yeah, oh my God. I'm going to lose my mind. And
Please,
interestingly
enough,
if they waste a bunch of time on Fire Emblem, will you please do another unmotivated
I can
reaction, please?
And the warp pipe is now available for people to register to play games.
Yeah,
the warp pass. So if you haven't done that or you're going there, you may want to.
That is correct. Hey, we've got a couple of questions and emails from our community, so let's discuss. Shall we? All right, so over on Twitter, friend of the show at MechaDragon101 asked us this. What are some of your, we talked a lot about our most favorite E3 moments.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know what are some of your least favorite E3 moments?
Least favorite. Anytime. Go ahead.
Say besides Wii Music.
Oh yeah,
That was the first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
How god awful that one was.
I think, this is just a general comment, but like, I find it super painful when they bring out like a celebrity for celebrity's sake who doesn't really know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Or, someone who, go up there and warm up the crowd or get them excited and kind of, use some buzzwords and like, you don't know the games. You have a script that they're reading off of. Like some of those are just cringeworthy.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I think my least favorite was the time that, oh my God, I don't know what else my least favorite would be. I was going to say when they spent a lot of time on Star Fox Zero a couple of years ago, that was pretty painful. Yeah, I don't know. I think
and part of that was like, let's show Miyamoto walking around a Japanese garden.
Yeah, stuff like that is a bit cringy. So
another one that comes to my mind is during the last time Nintendo had a stage presence.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that they wanted to announce fell through, so they had to find something else to talk about. So they spent way too much time talking about Nintendo Land.
There you
go. But isn't that just the curse of the Wii U era? Like we had something else we wanted to do.
It started that way and it finished that way.
We had something else we wanted to do, but it didn't happen. So now we're going to spend way too much time on this other thing, 3DS. Right. Anyway.
I think one more thing that I have.
I was just waiting for Justin to say something there. What were you going to say, Jesse?
Okay. Another thing where Miyamoto was trying to demonstrate Skyward Sword, but the Wii Remote lost sync to his system.
Yes.
And he blamed it on everyone's Wi-Fi.
Turn off your Wi-Fi. Well, I mean, to be fair, Steve Jobs did that on stage too.
Yeah.
True. So there you go. So it can happen.
Yeah. That's why even on their Apple events now, everything's wired. They're wired into something. Even the demos on an Apple Watch is wired in, so it's really awkward for them to try to do it on stage.
Mm-hmm.
MechaDragon also asked us this, and I love this question. Do your kids watch your podcasts or videos, or do they, or brag about them at school?
I would say yes for brag about them at school. So in where we're living in Ireland, with my kids and their friends, I'm sort of internet famous for them. I'm the really cool dad that I think my kids actually think I work for Nintendo or that my job is actually YouTube videos. I've been trying to tell them that's not why we're here. But I will have the kids being like, that was a really cool video you put up. And oh, hey, do you know how many followers you guys have? That's incredible. Oh, did you get more free stuff from Nintendo? Wow. So I think my kids think it's really cool, and are happy to kind of my dad works with Nintendo or my dad does video games or so I think there's that and if there's a new video game the kids are usually over at our place wanting to try it out first because they know that I most likely have it. So yeah, it's that's yeah. So my kids find it kind of cool, but that's I'm sure that'll pass soon as well.
Yeah, my son's made a comment the other day about that he had never really met anyone famous except for you, Dad.
Sure.
And I was like, son, okay. Like I just let him have his moment. Like, okay.
Yeah, I see, and that's the thing is, I don't let them have that moment. What I do is I tell them to stand in line and give me €5, and I will sign my headshots for them.
You're starting them. I get it. You're starting the appreciation early.
Exactly. I'm like, no, if your friends just want to line up there, that's fine. I will start selling.
You'll put your arm around them awkwardly and smile.
Yeah, take my photo. That's cool.
Yeah, please get off me, kid. Yeah. Right.
Not funny.
But no, I in all seriousness, the only thing that my son says is kind of like your kids like, oh, we got something new. Is Nintendo gonna send us that one? Mm-hmm. And then he'll work it into conversations like, my dad gets games from Nintendo.
Yeah.
Or my dad's on a podcast and people at Nintendo listen or something like that. I'm like, son, dial it down. Dial it down.
Yeah, my son, he hasn't done a lot of streaming lately since he set up his Switch and his Xbox in his room, so he's not down here playing games as much. But he has probably more subs than I do on my personal account. So he's familiar with what all is needed to be a YouTube streamer, and so he has. I think he said he's mentioned to some of his friends that that we have a podcast and talk Nintendo. And my girls really don't care. In fact, if I'm with my youngest one, if I mention the podcast, she's like, "Oh no, not again." Because it's really easy to take my phone out and say, "Hey, this is what I do."
I think a more favorable question here or a better read on things is when the podcast is mentioned or vice versa. If they bring it up, how does your wife react to the podcast?
My wife really doesn't do anything. It's like her interests, her gaming interests, and my gaming interests are pretty much polar opposites.
Yeah,
and we don't step on each other's toes. We don't, we don't really interact much in our own gaming. We do our own things.
I would say for me, Jody has always been very supportive of it. Right. I think originally she thought it was just a weird side project that would, end up falling off the wayside, and that was fine. But I mean, we're almost 5 years into this, and she was critical in why I went to Gamescom in Germany last August. I had said that was one of the things that was on my bucket list when we were living this close, and she said, "Well, why don't we do a trip to Germany? If you get approved for going as press, why don't we go?" And that's something you can check off your bucket list. So she's very supportive of that. And I've, gone away on weekends over to EGX with Gary and done that kind of stuff. And she's very supportive. But I mean, there's also benefits that she gets from it as well. If here's some games we can play and that kind of stuff. But
my wife frequently talks about it and I'll hear her talking to somebody. It's like, Marty does the Nintendo Dads podcast and it's really good because, it covers a lot of the money he's spending. Sure. She's like, so that's good. And then people will usually ask this question because not being in a very metropolitan area, there's still a lot of people here who don't know what a podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll ask this question. It's like, do people actually listen to that? And then this is where she really blows them over with a feather. She's like, yeah. And some people actually pay them money to support them to do this. And most people's reaction at this point is, really? Really? You see the wheels start turning.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know people could do that. That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mecha Dragon. He's man, I love it. He's engaged. He's always
Yeah.
asking questions. I love
And
that.
actually, big thanks to him. He just both him and Tim support us over on our chat as well over
Yeah.
in YouTube. So thank you so much for your donations. We appreciate that. Marty, this question actually just came in on Twitter, and it's directly lined for you.
Ooh.
Shell Shock Prime asks, Marty, do you think we'll get a new Mega Man game announced at E3?
Oh God, I hope so.
I'm only giving you 30 seconds on this, Marty.
Here's the deal. Mega Man 11 did make Capcom money. They confirmed that. But with the development time or lack of between 10 and 11, I don't think this year.
Mm-hmm.
With rumors being what they were, I think we'll probably get a Mega Man X before we get another Mega Man game.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Do you think we'll see X7 before 12?
I would love to see a new Mega Man X.
Is
even though
X7 the next
it's not my
the next one?
favorite. I think it would be maybe X8. I don't know. I fell off the Mega Man X wagon after 3. Played a couple of ones on PlayStation and didn't really care for it
Shock
too much.
says X9 is next. So.
It's actually X9. Okay, so yeah, then be honest with you, I would not be opposed to them rebooting Mega Man X at this point. Because it had gotten a little ridiculous.
A little?
Just a little. I'm going to read this email from our email from Brandon Howarth.
Perfect.
And he asked this. He says, so we learned a lot this week. Animal Crossing probably won't be playable at E3. We could turn Pokemon into kaiju, and there's a legendary Pokemon with a sword in his mouth. How does he eat? I don't hear much about Crash Team Racing from you guys. Are any of you guys looking forward to it as much as I am? Brandon.
No, not me. I'm not a fan of any kart racer anymore. But even if I was, I've never been a Crash fan. And I looked at the Crash remakes that they did last year, and I'm like, these games look unplayable running in and out of the screen like that.
That was a big thing back in those days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah,
right. Nintendo purposely didn't do stuff like that until they had games in 3D.
Yeah.
I'm not a Crash Team Racer kind of guy, but I know there's a huge audience out there for it. And if it's Brandon, if it's something that you're hyped for, and I know Mecha Dragon asked the question as well before, we'd love to hear your guys' comment. And if you're getting the game and you want to let us know what you think of it, so we can promote it or share it, and you think it's good that for the Nintendo Dads community to be aware of it, absolutely let us know, and we'll be happy to kind of promote, share if you want to do a video on it, whatever. But yeah, it's not something that I think that my kids aren't yearning for it. Like they love Mario Kart, but they'll go back to that. Because there's an attachment to that, right? They know the princess character. They know, and I think that's the thing is because there isn't the known character attachment. I think that's why for some people, again, because if you think about it before, obviously it was on the PlayStation generation, right? So if you were not really familiar with that, I don't think you have the connection to it. So I think it's not as appealing for some people. And I know, like, for example, I listen to Kind of Funny. Tim Geddes is like super hyped about it, right? But he grew up on that stuff and he loves Crash Team.
I think that out of all of the derivative kart racers that came out trying to copy Mario Kart, I really think that Crash Team Racing was probably the one that got the closest to doing it right. Mm-hmm. And that's why people are excited about it. It does have an actual story mode for a single player campaign, which I think like that people want that. I've seen that be asked for about Mario Kart, but I think Mario Kart, like you said, there's an attachment rate there, but I also think that it just sets such a pinnacle, right, of excellence. It's hard to pull. Like I only have so much room in my case or in my life for kart racers. So when it comes down to it, like, am I going to get Mario Kart? Am I going to get Sonic Team Racing, or am I going to get Crash? I'm going to get Mario, right? Number one, it's where most people are going to play. Number two, I'm more familiar with it. I know what I'm going to get with that, right? Even though Sonic Team Racing has been favorably reviewed for the most part, and I'm pretty sure Crash will too. I just don't have the attachment there. Although I do want to make mention of this because I did notice earlier on Twitter that it was just announced today that Asphalt 9 is coming to Switch
Mm.
near the end of this year. Well, I would assume it is because they didn't really say a release date. They just said more information coming soon. And that's really going to be the first non-cartoony arcade style racer that the Switch has gotten. And it looks incredible. And
Yeah.
I love that type of game, like the Burnout style. It's super fast. It's real. You're not like, you don't have to know anything about drift and, passing lanes and all kinds of stuff like that, like you do with like a game like Gran Turismo or something like that. So it looks really good. You can go check out the tweet. It had like a little teaser trailer for it with actual gameplay footage. So look nice.
And earlier I said I never owned a GBA until the DS came out. Yeah, I never owned a PS1.
Oh wow!
So
I barely own a
I
PS1.
played some of the old
Final
PS1
Fantasy VII.
games when I got a PS2, but not a lot. So
Yeah.
I missed. So one of the reasons why, I think if I played Final Fantasy VII when it was new, I probably would have been able to stick with it because what else is there to play? But playing it so aged, even back on PS3 era when I first tried it, it was awful. And then so I never played Crash, never played Parappa the Rappa, and any of those other PS1 games.
Yeah, I had to go back and pick up Parappa, but that's one of my favorite games. I love it and Parappa 2. So good. Anyway, hope those answer your question, guys. Let's talk very briefly about some events, and then we'll get into what we've been playing.
Do it.
All right, so Pokemon Go Community Day is coming up, featuring Slack Off. That is Saturday, June 8th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. local time. Incubators will hatch your eggs 4 times faster, and you can evolve Vigoroth before 7 p.m. to obtain Slacking, who knows Body Slam. Also, if you don't care anything about Pokemon Go and you want another event, there's a new Splatfest coming this month, June 15th. It's going to happen on the same weekend for each region, but there are going to be very different Splatfest for North America, Europe, and Japan. In Japan, it's going to be whether you enjoy diced pineapple with your ham or not, or some kind of meat. So you're going to pineapple or no pineapple. For the European region, it's do you want to be a kid or do you want to be a grown-up? And then for the United States and North American regions, the most majestic of Splatfests of all time, unicorn versus narwhal. Which is more majestic? Just going ahead and throwing this out here.
I had to
Team
Google what a
all
narwhal
the
even
way.
was. I've never heard of that before.
It's a unicorn of the sea, Jesse.
I see now.
It's the thing in Elf that pops out of the ice and goes, "Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad." That's a narwhal.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm Team Narwhal. So if you're still playing Splat, I almost called it Splatfest. If you're still playing Splatoon 2, Splatfest is coming up. By the way, this is one of the last 2 Splatfests that have been announced. As they said, they would support it for 2 years. It's the next to last announced supported Splatfest. So get out there and get involved with that. Those are our events.
Is the last
Let's
one
talk
going to
about
be
what we've
Waifu
been playing.
Wars 2.0?
Yep. I hope so.
Okay.
Justin, before you begin to trumpet how right you were, let's just get it out there. You mentioned on the last time you were on the show about Realm Royale being shadow dropped, and guess what? It didn't wait till E3. It came shooting out of there like a
24 hours later.
yeah. I mean,
Not
it
even
was
less than that.
oddly prophetic. But you've been playing a lot of it, so why don't you tell us all about Realm Royale?
Yeah, so Realm Royale is a battle royale game from the team over at High Res Studios and Mojo, or Evil Mojo, I apologize. They are really good at taking popular game formats. So whether that's the shooter like Overwatch or the battle royale methodology and kind of putting their own skin to it. So Realm Royale is, you 100 people drop onto an island. You have guns and you shoot each other, and the last one to survive is there.
Somehow this sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah, exactly. There is a fog that comes in, and it reduces the space. You go around and you find chests, and you open it up, and you collect shards and gear from there, and special abilities. And then you use those shards to forge weapons or to forge armory or upgrades that can assist you in the game as well. There's only 3 types. There is solo, there is duels, and then there is, I think, squads, which is 4. There's no kind of battle royale. There isn't, half versus half, or there isn't the same amount of options as Fortnite has. There there is 4 classes, and then you have skins on those classes, so you can build skill trees within those classes that can help you. They have a battle pass associated with it, as you would expect for monetization for this kind of stuff. If you've played Paladins, it's kind of the exact same idea. It's not bad. It's no, I mean, I'll be honest, it's not Fortnite, right? Fortnite wins that space. But it's a different, if you like battle royales, it's a different approach on a battle royale.
No, and a very, I won't say very few people are playing it, but enough people are not playing it that you could still have time to try to get good.
Yes.
Before everybody floods into it. I do want to mention that there is a mechanic in this game that I absolutely love, and I think is implemented extremely well. And that is, when you die, you become a chicken.
Yes.
And you can still run around the map and jump and hide. And if you wait long enough, your character will pop back into the game with, I think, like a fourth of their health or a third of their health.
Yeah.
And you can continue the fight.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
I thought it's great. And you can actually have things in the game that will make your chicken look different. And those are all of course, this game does have a battle pass.
Yep.
And the other news, I guess, that we really need to mention is that it's to get in right now is kind of like when Paladins dropped last year around E3 time. You had to pay, I think it was a $29.99 fee to purchase the game, but it pretty much unlocked everything for a time, except for the monthly battle pass or the quarterly battle pass. This game is $15, and it still has a battle pass as well. The free version of this game is available in coming soon on your Nintendo eShop, but it still has a date of to be determined.
Yeah, this is the beta version of it. Is what you're going to access the beta. So the other mechanic you're going to potentially mention there, Marty, that I find very interesting is actually the jumping through windows.
Oh yeah.
You can actually jump out of a building instead of So there's no chopping down, there's no foraging, that kind of way of your
I do like that too. It's just about combat.
Yeah. So overall, like, again, if you're looking for maybe, you're maybe burnt out in Fortnite, but you like the battle royale method and you want to try something different, I'd say give it a shot. I assume that also, if you're also not hankering for it, when it comes out in a couple months from now, I imagine it's going to be free to play. Right. So, that'll be fine to jump in as well. But it'll be interesting to see how this game progresses. And I think, how does this game's mind share stay active when you, again, are competing with games like Fortnite and with games like PUBG? And if more of those games end up hitting the Switch, and, there's obviously the rumor of Apex Legends, can this game exist in the same way it needs to? And what kind of updates are they going to do to it to stay relevant and fresh? I don't think just putting Battle Pass in it is enough.
No, and I mean, one thing, I don't know, I was following and listening to what you were saying, but did you mention that it's kind of like class-based battle royale?
I did say that briefly. So those classes that you can.
There's hunter, there's warrior,
mage, and assassin.
Yeah, and each of those has a different. It's the difference is all of them start with a knife that you can use to potentially kill someone. Again, you drop in and you find weapons. All the weapons are the same. They don't get modifiers based on your player, but each one also has a power that you can use from the very beginning. Like the warrior has this forward leap. The assassin has a teleport. The hunter has something else like a combat role, kind of like the dualies and Splat. So you could kind of customize and play how you want to. But I went in for $15. I think I've gotten my $15 worth already.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. I think it's just nice to have a difference, right?
Yep.
Because Fortnite has kind of become its own animal.
Thing.
Yeah, Juggernaut's a great word for that.
Yeah, and I think it's very easy to compare the two and say like, oh, it's missing this. And I mean, I literally just did that 3 minutes ago, right? It doesn't have this, doesn't have that. But I think it's kind of a nice refresh. And I think to the other point that you made, Marty, like not everyone's in this, right? Like I was able very easily, I think my first couple of games to be within the top 15, right?
Yeah.
After not taking a lot of, I haven't won a victory or whatever they call it.
And don't let us saying that it's beta scare you away. It does actually feel good. Like it plays really good.
Yeah.
So don't let that scare you away. I mean, and I think Drew and some of the others have been trying to get and Ebucel and some of the others have been trying to get a game together.
Yeah.
Over for like before the show on Thursday night. So if you're a Patreon, you might or patron what am I saying? If you're a patron, you may want to pop over there to the Let's Play NOA channel and see if you can jump in a game after you get it. So it's out there, and
exactly.
I how long did it take Paladins to go free to play after launch?
Paladins took I think about 3 or 4 months. I think because Paladins was dropped on E3.
Yeah.
And then I want to think it was like it was by the end of the summer. So I think it was August, by the end of August. So about 2.5 months.
Yeah, so 2.5, 3 months. You should be able to get this for free if you're on the fence about it.
Yep.
Right. Jesse, what have you been playing?
Right, so I finished up Picross S3. I think this is the third or fourth time I've mentioned it, but I finished all the modes and clocked in a little. My profile says over 40 hours, so that's definitely got my $8 or $10 worth, or whatever I paid for that thing. And then after hearing what Marty said last week about Gato Roboto, I decided to pick it up, and it's very Metroid-like as he said. It starts off relatively simple, and then you get to that first boss, and it's like you smacking your face into a wall. It took me probably half an hour to get past. Maybe not that long, but I think like 5 or 6 tries before I finally beat it, and then I'm up where you're this cat who the boss is a mouse in a mech suit, and then later on you get into some underwater areas where your mech suit can't go. It'll damage it, but the cat's able to swim on its own reluctantly. Doesn't like it, but he can do it. And he'll find a submarine, and of course I'm about an hour in, so around at that point you find either the same mouse or a different mouse, now also in a submarine that you now have to fight, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'll chime in here. I finished Gato Roboto on. Let's see, I got it on Thursday and I finished it on Saturday. It is not a long game, but it is a very, very fun game. And it's a game that is very much worth your money. If you couldn't tell from my review or kind of raving about it last week. And I still stand by that. I mean, there are a couple of game design choices that I probably wouldn't have made, but I get it's an indie studio and I get they were trying something different and I really appreciate it. I love the fact that you can unlock different palettes and things throughout the game and kind of customize it the way you want to. And it actually ended up being I would say so far in 2019, it's been one of my favorite experiences on the Switch. And so if you love, Metroid or Castlevania or Metroidvania games, if you like Mega Man, if you like that type of thing, or if you just like kitties, then this is a great game for you, right? It's pretty cheap right now. I think $7.99 or $9.99 on the eShop. And again, this is a Devolver Digital title, which they make some, they publish great games. They're not going to put it out if it's crap. And I actually hope that this does well, so maybe we'll get a sequel to it
Yeah.
because it definitely. I won't spoil anything, but it definitely sets it up for some kind of sequel in the future. So it could definitely the story could continue.
Yeah, maybe a little spoilery for the first hour of the game, but like you're like the only character who doesn't talk. You're in radio contact with your human.
Yeah.
That's stuck on a ship after a crash landing, and then you come across other animals, but they're also able to talk, and the human is just like, I don't know what's going on. The lack of blood must be making me crazy.
Yeah, I love the way they present it.
So
Really,
I'm
really
interested in
cool.
knowing where this thing goes.
Yeah, you definitely need to try to finish it to the very end. And I will say the only negative, quote unquote, about the game is that for the most part, it's not all that challenging or all that difficult until you get to boss fights, and then the boss fights can be pretty overwhelming very quickly
And
if
then
you're not prepared.
right, so the second boss fight you have to fight in the sub, but all of the upgrades you've gotten so far have been upgrades to the mech, which you can't use because this fight's underwater.
Yeah, and
So I'm
just
basically bare bones again with just
again,
my
not.
standard shooter.
I hope this is not spoilers, but you never get to upgrade the sub. Like it is its own entity. So,
Okay.
and there's another suit later on that I think is
I was
very fun.
hoping I can get some vertical firing with the sub, but guess that
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
happen.
there's nothing that you can get with that. Also been playing this week at Gary's recommendation, Swords of Ditto, and that is a game that I am completely lost in. And he was right about one thing, and I can say this definitely after a few hours with it. It's one of the slowest games I've ever played in my life. Like I'm just like, oh my God, get across the screen, please walk faster. You know, but I love the art style, and that's what drew me in. Like I was a sucker for the art style as soon as I saw it. I remember seeing this game first and foremost on a scrolling ad on the like PlayStation kiosk at Walmart and going, God, that game looks beautiful. I love that art, that animation style, and wanting to play it and never picking it up on PS4. Glad I didn't. Glad I waited for the Switch because I'm playing it actually more on in handheld mode than I would have on PS4. In fact, there I probably would have got frustrated and never would have finished it. But like I was able to level my character up to level 2, which is not as easy as it sounds. Jesse, back me up on this because you've played it, right? It's
Not
Which one's
far.
that?
Swords of Ditto.
No, I did not actually.
No, I said did I say Justin? I meant to say Jesse.
I heard me, but
Yeah.
I didn't get past like the first hour. Again, I agree. It's slow and wasn't sure what happened if I die, and I found no way to heal myself, so I'm sitting in a town with 1 health.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
it's a difficult game. It definitely harkens back to
Gary beat
another era.
but,
Yeah.
I did.
Well, I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna keep playing until I beat it. I really don't have anything like besides Mario Maker, and that's gonna be pop in and pop out when I play it. Anything very story driven, I guess, that's coming out for the rest of the summer until Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and so I'm hoping to clear out a couple of backlog games before then. Pokemon Let's Go and this one, I'm looking straight at you. Those are the ones I'm talking about. Well, guys, that has been episode 233 of Nintendo Dads. As we close out the show right now, I want to mention a poll going over on Twitter from Skinny Matt K. You can search for him, Skinny Matt K, who has posed the question: who are the best dads, Mega Dads or Nintendo Dads, or somebody else?
Yeah,
I
Dream
can't
Daddy
remember.
Bobby.
Dream Daddy Bobby.
Never heard of that. Guy.
Um,
Or is it?
I'm
Is
just
it
gonna say
about-
this here that if we don't win this, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed.
Well, when I looked before we recorded, and it was like an even third split. 33, 33, 34.
I haven't voted yet,
But
so
now we're currently ahead by significant
Well,
numbers.
Sorry, who posted this? Skinny Matt?
Skinny Matt K. This is let me get his actual name. How about that? As we throw this up, Skinny Matt.
Okay, no,
Skinny
Skinny.
Matt.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's organizing the first annual indie podcast meetup
Mhm.
later this year. And so I am excited about that. Man, we are beating Megadads 52-24, and that's all that matters. So, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, don't. I was gonna say, don't leave me the only one in this.
No. You are
Uh,
100% right.
But anyway, go over and vote in Skinny Matt's poll and vote for Nintendo Dads. Don't vote for anybody else. Guys, it's been awesome to be on tonight, episode 233 of the show. As we close out, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off. You guys are awesome for supporting us at the producer level. And we thank each and every one of our patrons for being a part of making this show possible. And you can find us on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and now we're on Spotify. So if you're listening to podcasts over there on Spotify, go give us a 5-star review. Also do that on Google Play and Apple Music so that people can find us. You can also head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads to support us monetarily, and we thank you for that. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, anywhere social media exists by going to look for @Nintendo Dads. Just search Nintendo Dads and you'll be able to find us. We also love it when you email us. So you can email us over at NintendoDads@gmail.com, or you can call in and leave us a actual real voice message so that we can hear you and thus connect with you on a much deeper level at 929-25-NDAD. That's 929-256-3237. And if you want to buy some sweet Nintendo Dads merchandise, head on over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store. That's all together. And treat yourself. That's right. Treat yourself. One of those folk cakes.
Uh-oh.
That you're hearing right now, music used throughout the show. And thanks to Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for all their sweet artwork they've done for us. For me, for Jesse, and for Justin, this has been episode 233 of Nintendo Dads. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Chupa, 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 chupa.